afternoon, guys, and welcome to another episode of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Bexon. Today, we're going to be talking with Marco Sanchez. He's a top realtor for blue water properties in the northern Guanacaste area near Tamarindo. But the interesting thing about this is we're going to be talking about real estate all over Guanacaste, which is the northern Pacific area of Costa Rica, as Marco actually moves around in all of the northern areas of Guanacaste, not just Tamarindo. So it's going to be interesting discussing kind of with him some of the off the beaten track stuff, and also kind of like where his interests lie and where he sees growth in the real estate and vacation rental industry going forwards. Remember, if you have any questions you'd like to ask Marco, all of his contact details are in the description, or feel free to email me as well, richard@costaricareit.com. Let's get straight into it. Hey, Marco, thanks very much for joining us again. I say again because I actually, we did this podcast the other day. I forgot to hit record, so we're redoing it now. So second time is always better than the first one, right, Marco?
I'm happy to chat again. Let's do it.
I felt terrible out wasting your time. But yeah, I mean, this is for the good of the listeners, of course.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm definitely happy to share information again. Let's go for it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I just given a bit of an intro there, kind of about your work that you do. I mean, you're based up there kind of in the Tamarindo area, but you're originally Tico, both your parents are Tico. You kind of grew up in Arizona and then moved back to Costa Rica, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I started my real estate career in East Valley, Arizona, but I was first generation American. Both my parents are from here, Costa Rica.
Wow. So how long have you been back in Costa Rica now?
5 years now.
Awesome. Well, you're helping people make the move or buy something down here in Costa Rica, kind of like you did, right? Bring them back down here.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, the first time I've been selling Costa Rica since I was a kid. So now I just kind of made it my job, you know, but I've been telling people about the beauties and the amazingness that is Costa Rica since I was very young.
Well, I always like to start off by asking people because, you know, again, it's been, it's been weird the last 18 months, I suppose. I can't even remember now. It's all a blur. But like, I mean, you've been down here for a while. You were down here during the kind of the COVID, the pandemic and everything. And I'm sure that, you know, you saw some interesting things. But like, what surprised you recently?
I think what surprised me the most is just how much all this new influx of people that have been coming in here have been embracing the change and I guess the cultural shift, because there are a lot of new people that are starting to come in, and you know, I think it's great to see. It's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the digital nomad visa, which will get passed probably in a couple of months, it passed its first debate. I actually spoke about that in a previous podcast with Christina Garini. You know, will be passed very soon. So I think by the end of the year we'll have that, and I'm sure we're about to see another influx of people coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it before, and it's no secret that we're going through a real estate boom of sorts here. And I don't feel shy in saying that anymore. But what's amazing is that it's been primarily people from the United States, and Canada hasn't even had their chance to come in and do the same. So I think that's coming here next.
Marco, saying that, I mean, again, there seems to be a lot of demand. There's the diminishing supply here. And I had a podcast where I talked about building here, that some people are having to turn to building now because there's not available what they're looking for. But how much of an increase are you seeing in prices at the moment?
You know what, there is definitely a little bit of appreciation going on in properties for sure, but I wouldn't say that it's like spiking super high. I would say that the inventory that was here before the interest started coming in, you know, people were ready to sell. So I don't think that they were in a rush to start, you know, hiking up their prices and risk losing sales. So there has been small increases in prices for sure, but I don't think it's been astronomical. I think it's been, you know, very slow.
Yeah, I think that's good for listeners, because again, there's also this, you know, this fear of losing out, that like they better get down there Costa Rica and buy something because prices are going to go through the roof. But I mean, typically in Costa Rica, we don't see that, you know, that extravagant increase in, you know, the appreciation in assets like they do in North America, just because, again, here the access to finance is limited, and also that's typically cash buyers.
Correct. It's primarily a cash business here. So those dramatic shifts in the market prices is not something that we're really used to seeing right around here. It's more or less right now is just the inventory. There used to be saying that everything's for sale in Costa Rica, and for a long time that's true, but now it's starting to say, hey, no, now there's a little bit of a shortage. But those people that did have properties weren't really eager to raise their prices. They were just ready to sell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always, how you and I got in touch was I was helping, somebody had contracted me to help them find a property in the Arenal La Fortuna area, and your name came up, and I contacted you about some property you had there. And I got really confused because typically realtors are in Tamarindo, stay in the Tamarindo, like Flamingo area. Typically ones that are in Jaco stay in Jaco, ones that Novita, Dominical stay there. But you appear that you do stuff kind of all over Guanacaste.
Well, I have those people are friends. They were clients, but just through our communications over a long period of time, they became friends, and they have a great listing that you got to see. And so I just decided, I want to be able to be available and help people, not just in my niche, because some areas are underserved. And so I do have some listings throughout Costa Rica, and it's usually from good relationships with clients or friends that I've developed. And I think that it helps kind of broaden my knowledge of the overall Costa Rica market.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting looking at that property that we were just talking about there, because I couldn't believe the rental income. She showed me the Airbnb. They have this, 2-bedroom house with a pool. It's not very large, just right there in front of the volcano. And they're generating, so far this year, she's cleared $50,000 in revenue on it, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's a great property. And, to be honest, like I said, it's an underserved area. So to get realtors out there to go show these properties is a bit of work, but the thing's a powerhouse for rental income and ROI. So it's an easy choice for anybody that's looking for a rental property. And the great thing is that it has an owner's house right next door. It's a package deal.
Yeah. Well, I think more and more people, I'm getting more people kind of contacting me, asking me to do kind of a bit of analysis for them on the La Fortuna area, because, again, working in travel, I get to see all this travel data of where people are looking at, what they buy, what they don't buy, their pricings, how many nights, etc. So I did this analysis for a while back, and I really think La Fortuna might be a bit of a hidden gem for vacation rentals.
Yeah, in fear of not trying to blow it up, but yeah, I think La Fortuna is definitely a potential gem for sure.
Beyond La Fortuna, what other non-coastal areas are you seeing demand for?
Non-coastal areas, yeah, and we mentioned this in the previous conversation, but yeah, I think the Dota region, the mountains of Dota are absolutely beautiful, and they're a little bit, not as well known, but I think those areas are absolutely gorgeous, and I don't see why people that like a little bit more mountain regions would love to go live in that zone.
It's also the best coffee region in Costa Rica, right? The Tarrazú.
And there's plenty of coffee lovers out there. So if you wanted to dream of having your own coffee farm or piece of property with coffee plants, that's the place to do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely spectacular. I even recently, I think it was in March, bought property there. In San Gerardo de Ota. So we're looking to do a yurt, like luxury yurt thing there. So it should be pretty interesting. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great area. And like I said, I sold a property there not too long ago, and I think those people were very stoked to get it at the price that they got it for the size of the property that they got there. So yeah, it's a gem.
Yeah, for listeners just listening in, it's a very high altitude, right? Are we talking 5,000-6,000 feet?
Yeah, I would say about 5,000-6,000 feet, maybe up to 7,000. So it's a little bit chillier mountain region, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful in the summertime, and even in the rainy seasons there. It's just a different vibe, but it's still gorgeous.
Yeah, I'd suggest that anybody that wants to kind of combine that with the Southern Pacific areas would kind of go through that Ciudad de la Muerte area to San Marcos, Santa Maria, San Gerardo, and then from there down to the Southern Pacific areas.
Yeah, you can still get to the beaches in about an hour, I believe, from some of those zones.
Yeah, well, we also know that Alta Gracia just got bought by GenCom, which are the Four Seasons owners down there. So that's down in Peliceron. So I'm sure that's going to bring quite a bit of traffic down there as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the secret's going to come out soon.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, unless we haven't even let the cat out the bag already. But
yeah.
I've got a question from a listener here, because sometimes we get these. they talk about land with water. Like they have a piece of land, potentially doesn't have water on it. What should they understand about buying land without water?
So great question. And right now, I mean, before right now, I would say, I would always tell people to be very careful buying any property without water. And that warning still is there in place. But if you have an understanding and you do your due diligence and your research, with the growth that we expect to see in some of these areas, it's not as scary of an idea to buy property without water, as long as you, like I said, do your research and due diligence. The property that we just talked about in Santa Maria del Dota, I sold that lot without water. But if you look at what's happening in that zone and what is set to occur in the coming years, they will start laying in the infrastructure for those properties. So anybody who does buy in there is most likely going to get in early on something that will be, a great investment in the future.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there. I mean, it is somewhat risky, but it also isn't if you know kind of what's going on in the areas. I mean,
yeah,
I'm currently looking at buying a piece of land in Playa Avianas, just because the data is telling me that's where, you should be investing at the moment, just because, it's right south of Pinilla. The construction is all happening between kind of Tamarindo, Flamingo, all these areas. It has to move south, has to move north of Masada. And they just got the aqueducto, but they just got the Pariso, aqueduct is what it would be called.
Aqueducto.
Yeah, so that they just got water, coming in there. So, while some of these places might not be connected to the mains water, there will be an opportunity in the next coming years to actually connect to that.
Yeah, and I agree fully with you. I think that area is going to be set to grow here in the next few years. It already is. We're seeing developments pop up right now.
Yeah. Now, what about buying land that has a well on? Because we sometimes talk about, wells here. I mean, if I understand correctly, if the land has a well on, you should probably get an analysis done of the well and the water flow, etc. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think buying a property with a well is an amazing thing. If you can get access to your own water, I think a lot of people want that. I would want that for myself if I were to buy a property. If I have that opportunity to tap into my own water, why not? But make sure that you're getting research done to it. Obviously, you're getting tested, and you can make sure that the well was built correctly and that you have good water flow. And yeah, as long as you take those measures, yeah, I think that would be amazing to find a property that has it already in place. But to find a property and to make a well that's a little bit more of a process.
Yes, definitely. So, well, and also make sure your well has water all year round as well, because it's great until you get around to January, February, March and find out you don't have water, and then your house doesn't have water for 3 months of the year.
Yeah, and that's more common here in this area, in this zone where I'm in, because we are a dry temperate forest. So we do get some droughts here. If you go move into the central and southern zones, you won't see that as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. When I first came here, sometimes the water would go off, but I haven't seen that in years now. They seem to have kind of their act together, which is good to hear. So
yeah, they do. Same. Yeah.
I mean, just as a general question, I mean, what advice would you give to listeners looking to potentially invest in Costa Rican real estate?
What advice I would get them is obviously choose a good realtor, choose somebody that you can develop some trust and rapport with. And then, really do your due diligence with everything, and don't be afraid to get a second opinion with your lawyers as well. And you're getting into, so there's nothing to be scared of if you establish your items as far as knowing the whole process as it is, and have somebody explain to you the whole process as it is. And then once you kind of start clearing the fog, you'll see that the transactions are pretty straightforward. So as far as that goes, yeah, it just take your time, do your due diligence, and don't be.
I think my internet is connected. I think I'm having a few internet issues here. Can you?
No worries, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm back.
We're back. Well, I mean, again, if you could go back 5 years, Marco, and tell yourself to invest into something in Costa Rica, what would it be and why?
Yeah, my answer is maybe a little bit boring here, but I don't know. I would like to buy some affordable condominiums here in the Tamarindo area that are central to town and walking distance to the beach. That would be the smartest investment that I think I could make for myself here where I'm at right now.
And why did you say that?
5 years ago.
I'm asking. Why do you say that? Why would you have done it there?
Because I'm all about rental income. I know this zone now, but I also know some other areas because I used to live and work in a few different parts of Costa Rica. But I just see the growth that's happening here and the inevitability of what this area holds. And so, yeah, I if 5 years ago, I would just be getting in on the ground floor as far as getting as close to central as possible.
Would it change if I said that if you inherited $500,000 today and had to invest in the business or real estate somewhere here? What would you do with that? Would you still do the same thing, or would you be doing something different?
No, it would be the same thing. I would just probably be buying two condos,
Yeah.
just split the 500 in half and be buying two condos here within town.
I'm going to ask you just another question. That'd be my last question. But like, again, if you were looking to make a long play, let's say a bit of a long, riskier play rather than, because again, a condos, I think is going to be a safe play in Tamarindo, right?
It's a safe play. Yeah, of course.
If you were going to make a bit of a longer play, I'm talking maybe 10, 20-year play, which is quite a way out, of maybe on land or a condo in somewhere that's developing at the moment, what would you be doing?
A long play for me would most likely be a piece of raw land in the southern coast of Costa Rica. Most likely, I would probably be looking anywhere from Uvita all the way down to Pavones or the Matapalo, the Matapalo Peninsula over there.
Yeah, I think that's good because again, that's an area of Costa Rica that's never really going to change. It's rainforest hitting beaches. It's one of the most biodiverse areas in the planet. And again, they're not making more rainforests. It's typically the other way around, right?
They're not making any more rainforests, and those places are going to be very rare, or they're not going to be touched as much as everywhere else. And so if you can get yourself a big chunk of land in those areas that you can actually build something on and be a part of it, then I can see that the value of those is going to be more than your average property in Costa Rica.
Yeah. I agree. Well, Marco, again, thanks again for your time. This one has been recorded, by the way. I'm going to put all your contact details in the description for anyone that wants to reach out for you. Again, I think that anyone that's going to reach out is probably going to be interested in more the Guanacaste area. But I mean, I think anyone that's interested in real estate in general should reach out to you because, again, you do know quite a bit of the whole country.
Well, I'm happy to serve, and I'm happy to talk to anybody that's willing to learn a little bit about Costa Rica. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate your time, Marco. You have a great day.
Pura vida.
Bye.